Hey guys, it's Charlotte from Hanata Showers, and today I'm going to be talking about something that's probably a bit of a taboo subject, something that's probably not the nicest of subjects, but if this video helps even one person out there, then I'd consider it worthwhile making. So what I'm going to be talking today is abuse in relationships. So if you think that this might help you, or you've been affected by this, then please stay tuned. So when I was 15, I met a boy on the internet. I know, as much as the internet is such a really great way to find and meet people, please make sure you know enough about them before you take the plunge. So I met a boy on the internet. He lived a very far way away from where I lived, but my nan actually lived in the same place that he did, and so when I visited my nan for like the summer holidays and stuff, I was able to see him. So in total we were together for 2 years, and I'd say probably for about the first 6 months everything was awesome. I really felt like this was, the best thing that had ever happened to me, and I was really excited, and then things went a bit crap. I'd already decided that I wanted to go, and when I finished school I wanted to move away and live with my nan at the seaside for a bit, and so that is what I did. And the bonus to that as well was that my boyfriend lived down in Dorset as well, so I was able to spend a lot more time with him. What did happen was I started college, and I went to the same college that he went to, and that's where it really started to go a bit wrong. He was super jealous of all the boys that I would talk to at college, and it really just started off with a bit of, he'd always want to know who I was talking to, he'd always want to know where I was going, who I was going to be seeing, how long I was going to be out for. If I didn't have a specific time that I was going to get back, it was, well, make sure as soon as you know, give me a text, make sure you phone me if you're going to be late, all of that kind of stuff. But as it went on, it got a lot worse. It started things with, like, you're not going to wear that, are you? That's too short. Why have you got so many buttons on your shirt undone? You're wearing too much makeup. Don't wear red lipstick, it makes you look like a slut. And then things started to get even worse than that. I didn't really think that they could, but they did. He stopped me from going to my college lectures. He'd be like, I know you sit by so and so in this lecture, so you're not going. I don't want you to go to this one because I know so and so is in that class, and I don't want you to see him. So it started to affect my grades immensely. If I would fall asleep halfway through a conversation, like a text message conversation at night, he'd go absolutely skits. I'd wake up to about 15 missed calls, I'd have 50 texts, and he would have driven over to my house and be waiting outside for when I wake up, things like that. I'd had a friend that I'd known since I was born. We'd been friends since we were babies, and as soon as he found this out, he stopped me talking to him completely. That was an absolute no-go, and I wasn't allowed to talk to him anymore. And that was probably the most hurtful thing, because my friend was like a brother to me, and I couldn't ever imagine, it was one of those guys that you talk to every single day. There's no sort of relationship with regards to, like, don't fancy each other or any that kind of relationship, but he really truly was like my brother, and I just found it really hard to just have to just cut him off, and I know that it really hurt him as well, and that was probably one of the worst things that happened. So after a good period of time of the controlledness, checking through my phone, checking my Facebook, checking my emails, telling me what I could or couldn't wear, having to, monitor my makeup, say what was alright, what wasn't okay, that kind of stuff. That was when the beatings started. So I remember the first time he ever hit me, I was in bed and I had a really horrible day and I was feeling really, really ill, and he said that, you know, I bet you've got this illness off a boy that you've kissed at college, or, you know, a boy's given this to you because you've been too close. And I was just so drained, and I just thought, oh, this is just so ridiculous. And so I ended up just telling him to fuck off. I said, if you're not going to be nice, if you're not, you know, if you're not going to look after me and stay with me, then please just fuck off and get out of my house. You know, I feel awful. I've had a really bad day and I just can't be dealing with you at the moment. And he came up to me and punched me whilst I was lying in bed, and he managed to get me in the rib, and honestly, it was the most excruciating pain I think I have ever felt, and I really was in total disbelief. I could not believe it. I just burst into tears, and immediately he was so apologetic, and he was so like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it, I'll never do it again. Sorry about that, my camera cut off and I am completely lost as to where I'd got up to. But I think it was around about the first time that he hit me. So I'm just going to go from just after that, and for me, it was over. That was it. I didn't want to know anything about him. I didn't want to know him at all. But he started to threaten me, and my family. He started threatening my family, and at the time I had a 1-year-old brother, and he started saying, you know, if you don't carry on going out with me, he'd do horrible things to my brother. So I was between two minds, I suppose, because at the same time I knew that I needed to tell someone, and I knew that I didn't need to go through this, but I was also really scared as to what he could potentially do. In hindsight, I know now that, you know, they were empty threats. There wasn't anything behind them, but I was young, I was naive, and I was very scared. The abuse was becoming a lot more public. One time he pinned me up against the wall by my neck at college while some students and a lecturer were walking by, and he was told to go home. They didn't want to see him in college anymore, and I was taken to talk to a teacher, to which I just said it was the first time that it had happened, and it was a complete misunderstanding. I can't exactly remember the reason why it had happened now, but all I know is that it wasn't the first time, and it was getting a bit tedious now. He once tried to drown me in the sea, held me underwater. Again, I can't remember what for, but these are just examples of things that happened in the relationship. And after 2 years, yeah, I was with him for 2 years and put up with this stuff for, you know, a year and a half. I knew I needed to get some help, and the only person that I could turn to was the friend that I'd had to cut off from my life. So I messaged him on Facebook and deleted it immediately, got his number and saved it into my phone under a different name. And I phoned him one night and I just said, please, you've got to help me. I need an out. I need to get out somehow. So one day I went to college, and whilst my then boyfriend was in a lecture, I left college early, jumped on the train and went to meet my friend at the train station, and we went back to his house, and there was a big group of his friends there, and for the first time in ages I felt safe. And So that night we ended up having a big house party, and there was tons of people, and for the first time in years I felt like I was actually able to relax and enjoy myself and not have to worry about the consequences. I'd switched my phone off and I had no intentions of turning them back on again. And to be honest, I had no intentions of ever going back, or looking back for that matter. The next morning I stayed over at my friend's house. In fact, we all stayed over, and the next morning I felt ready to switch my phone on and deal with what was going on. So with all my new mates and my old mates around me, I plucked up the courage to phone and end the relationship. And as soon as I'd ended it, I said, please don't contact me again. This truly, this is it. And I hung up. And I went out with my mates that day, and I didn't feel sad about the fact that the last 2 years had ended, that it was the end of a chapter. I was so relieved. It was unreal. I went back to my house that night, and my ex was waiting outside in his car, and I just ran inside the house, locked the door, and turned my phone off. I'd somehow managed to find this I don't give a fuck. I'm not bothered anymore. This you caused this. This is your problem. It wasn't my fault, And I didn't want to know him anymore. I didn't want anything to do with him at all. So I passed all of his things that were at my house onto a mutual friend, who then gave me my things back from his house, and that was it. There were text messages, emails, Facebook messages, phone calls, letters even, and I just ignored them all. I thought, truly, either you're going to do this for the rest of your life, or you're going to give up sooner or later, and it's no skin off my nose if you want to waste your time chasing me, because I'm not going to be coming back. So over the next couple of months I had to deal with what had happened, and I was very low on confidence, especially self-confidence. I'd almost gotten to a stage where I couldn't really decide what I wanted to wear for myself. I needed somebody to tell me what to wear. I found myself putting on clothes and going, oh, does this look alright? Do I look slutty? All of the things that I probably wouldn't have ever thought before, but all of a sudden have become so important to me. So I had to re-find myself almost, and the biggest thing that I had to do was learn to trust again. I had absolutely no trust for anyone, and it was really hard to learn to trust again, and it took such a long time. But I think the main thing that you really need to remember is, just because that specific person broke your trust doesn't mean that every single person after him or her is going to, because it's not like that. And if you have that outlook, it's going to make life so hard for you. I know how hard it is to trust people after you've been in an abusive relationship. I know that you are always going to have the voice in the back of your head that tells you, oh, be careful, don't give too much away, don't let them into your heart or into your life too much, just in case. But the thing is that you've got to give them a chance, because they haven't done anything wrong yet. They may never do anything wrong, but unless you give them a chance, you will never know. So I think that's a really important thing to learn, that no matter how much you don't want to trust somebody, please just try and give them a chance, because they might turn out to be the best thing that's ever happened to you. I think the other thing that's really important is that please know that it wasn't your fault, and that no matter what you had done, during that relationship, it probably wouldn't have made any difference. They probably still would have been exactly the same way to you, because it's not you, it's them. So please remember that. And just love yourself. Just be yourself. Be true to yourself and find who you are. If they have changed you for their own liking, then change yourself back to who you were before. There was nothing wrong with who you were before. Just, it's so hard to describe how to get over something like this. And I think everybody does it in their own way. But the main thing is to keep people who love you close. And if you're going through this now, please tell someone. Please tell someone. And even if you don't want to pursue it down, the law route, like I didn't, please just get them to help you to get out. You don't need to be in this situation, and you haven't done anything to deserve to be in this situation. So this was a long video. I hope that it has helped some of you, and if you do have any questions, please leave them below. I really would love to help you all. If I could help every single person that's going through this right now, then I would do it in a heartbeat, because nobody deserves to go through this, and especially you. So please know that you are loved, you do not deserve this, and you can get out of it and still be okay. Whew. I'm a bit tired now. So thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. Please leave any questions, comments, queries, whatever you like down below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And thank you so much for watching, and remember, you are so loved.